Hello, anime fans. We are the Anime Connoisseurs. I'm your host, Noah, and today Johan is here, and he's going to be talking about his experience with the first two sagas of One Piece. That would be the East Blue Saga and the Baroque Works Saga.
Yeah, I'm okay. TLDR, this is going to be a positive experience, and I enjoyed the series. So if you're wondering whether I liked it or not, yes, I did in fact enjoy it, and I'm glad that I started reading One Piece. So I guess that's like a short answer. But if you want the long answer, stay tuned. Also, if you're not in the mood for potentially bad One Piece takes, you might want to not watch this video.
I'm excited to hear some of those.
Yeah, I don't think my videos are going to be as bad as like my opinions of some other series. I think I should be okay for the most part, but well, just you might not agree with me, so
Yeah.
just get ready for that.
It's also worth noting, Johan here is a manga only, so that's what his experience with the series is based on.
Yes,
because I think there is an important distinction between the two experiences.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, I actually have been talking to some friends, because of course, like everybody's got a friend that likes the One Piece anime. Come on, if you have friends that watch anime, one of them has seen One Piece. They like to show me the anime equivalents of the moments that I've seen in the manga. So, for example, I watched the march of the Straw Hats all the way to Arlong Park. You know what I'm talking about if you've read that arc. But and stuff like that, or like certain filler, certain anime only scenes that were added to stuff like Roguetown, or just stuff like that, and some fights. So yeah, but yes, I am mostly an anime only. Okay, so shall we begin?
Yes.
Noah, what is the first arc of One Piece?
First arc of One Piece. That'd be the East Blue Saga, starting with Romance Dawn.
So Romance Dawn. So right off the bat, I can already say this is definitely. I will say that I don't think One Piece has the strongest start I've seen. I think it is definitely worse off than some other series, like Naruto, for example. But I do think that in particular, Romance Dawn is probably the best arc of the first three. And I do think that it did a pretty good job of introducing Luffy. And one thing that I really like about it is that it makes you like Shanks. It's like, how do you can't read Romance Dawn and be like, oh, I hate Shanks, he's awful. Like, no, like you can't do that. Like, the series really makes you like Shanks. And one thing that I was not expecting about Romance Dawn is that Luffy is really funny in Romance Dawn. Now, I'm sure some of you have probably seen the entire series and you're probably like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, I don't remember that. But like, go back into some of the arcs, or no, I'm sorry, some of the chapters of Romance Dawn. Like well, there's not that many, but like, maybe like the first three. Luffy is kind of like he kind of has this thing where his social skills are bad, but like he kind of has like a lack of social awareness, but in a funny way. I don't know. He's funny. Like it's like, he's I guess you could say his ADD is funny. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say now?
Yeah.
So one thing that I was not expecting about Romance Dawn is that Luffy is very hilarious. And I was actually like smiling a couple times when I read Romance Dawn, and Luffy is a pretty just he's a funny kid. Like he's not really cringe, he's not like other protagonists where it's hard to respect him. He's just funny, and it's like an endearing in an endearing way, or in a way that doesn't upset you. It's like in a way that makes you smile kind of way. So that's kind of how I felt about like really, and by the way, I'm talking about like the chapters with Kobe, like those chapters where they're both very young. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah,
that stuff. I mean, other than that, like I think the arc is it's a pretty solid start. Most people kind of put it towards like the bottom of the middle, right? Like when it comes to like the arcs,
it's usually somewhere towards the middle.
Yeah. So I guess I thought it was all right, but yeah, it was definitely not a horrible start. I think it's pretty solid and it works. And I think it does do some things right. But Oda was definitely finding his footing. And
Mm-hmm.
like for example, I think the villain, like I can't even remember his name. It's the guy with the axe, like
Morgan.
yeah, Captain Morgan. Thank you. I mean, he's just a pretty like simple one note character, but like he gets better. Like the okay, I'm not sure if he comes back. I would not be surprised if they do a oh my god, this character from chapter 2 comes back in chapter 867, like and then he's like the best character ever. Like that's kind of what I heard about a lot of characters that
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was one of those. He definitely didn't do a bad job. I think it was pretty solid, and I do think um the One Piece the first arc of One Piece is definitely not like garbage. I think it's fine, and it does what it needs to do. So I would say it's pretty all right. All right, so the next arc.
That would be Orange Town.
So Orangetown. Okay, this is where I'm gonna get some hate. I'm sorry, guys. I did not like Buggy in Orangetown. I thought he was just very simple, basic, and I just kind of this might be among my least favorite arcs in the series. However, I let me explain the arc first, and I'll get to this later after I get past the third arc. I think that's yeah. Okay, so I think the arc is fine. It's just that I didn't really care for Buggy as a character. I just thought he was very simple, and I don't want to use the word one note, but just like he wasn't the most interesting character ever. I know people actually wildly disagree with me. I've heard people that really like Buggy and think he's like the best villain of East Blue and think he's better than Arlong. So apparently I am I don't know if this is a controversial opinion that you just don't like people don't like Buggy in East Blue. But I don't know. He was probably my least favorite villain, at least in how they were in East Blue out of all the East Blue villains. So this might be the first bad take. I apologize. I am not perfect. So what is like the general consensus of Buggy? Because that's my opinion on him. But like in
Well, most people don't really care much for Buggy. Yeah, I mean, some people think he's pretty funny, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot to say about East Blue Buggy.
now I don't think he is quote unquote bad. I just thought he was just nothing special in East Blue, but or well in you know in Orangetown specifically. But I do think that he has a pretty good idea of what he's a good representation or like showing of what villain devil fruits are like. I think that's a pretty solid way, and I think his power is fine. It's like the way he fights is not bad. It's just like he's just not my favorite character ever. Um, I mean, I don't know. It's just like honestly, I don't really have much to say. Like this video is like more like broad strokes. Like it's just like my initial thoughts about everything. It's not really a deep review. Um, I just don't really have much to say about Orangetown. It's like I think it's an okay arc. I most people put it like towards the bottom, or like among the bottom tier of arcs in a One Piece. If you have unless you're like one of those people that really doesn't like one or two specific ones, but I don't think it's bad. Yeah, so I'm perfectly willing to like change my opinion about Buggy later on. And I just didn't really like him that much in the beginning, but other people did. So there you go. Like, yeah. So Orangetown, I think it's all right. Syrup Village. I know some people that hate this arc. One of my friends in particular thinks this is one of the bottom two arcs in the series, alongside Long Ring Longland, and they're both in their own tier called bad. So I actually liked the villain more, and yeah, technically this is my favorite villain out of these three arcs, because he just had a little bit more going for him, and he was a little bit more interesting. Captain Kuro. I know how he was like a kind of a retired pirate. He just didn't really want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this arc introduced Usopp, and it kind of makes you like him. Well, so like, okay, I kind of had a roller coaster ride a little bit with Usopp. I thought he was like, I don't know, like a bad person or whatever for like 2 or 5 chapters, and then I read it forward and it's like, oh yeah, he's wholesome, he's great. That's kind of like how Usopp was for me in that arc. I mean, that doesn't really mean anything. That's not like an opinion. It's just how I felt about him. Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, but the jobber fights were kind of whatever. Like the same thing with Orangetown. I think I kind of like it slightly more than Orangetown, but it's not like my favorite arc. It's basically around where how I feel about Orangetown. So yeah, I think it's all right.
All right, so the next after that would be Baratie.
Okay, so in my opinion, you know how people say, "Oh my God, One Piece gets good in chapter 8,700, whatever." Like, you know that meme?
Mm-hmm.
I think the correct way of saying it, I do think that One Piece gets good at chapter 40, or whenever Baratie, however you pronounce it, starts. I'm sorry to tell you guys this, but I do think that One Piece gets good at chapter 1 is a little bit cope. I'm sorry, but yes, if you want to be super pedantic about it, I do think that One Piece gets good in Baratie, and you know what I'm talking. You know what moment I'm talking about. Baratie is among my favorite arcs in the series so far, which makes sense considering what arcs there are. You probably already know. I mean, if you know me, you probably already have an idea of what my favorite arcs are in top 3. I probably don't even need to tell you, but I will. So yes, Baratie is my 3rd favorite arc in the series so far. That will probably change very quickly once I get to Ennis Lobby and stuff like that. But yeah, I think this is a good arc overall. The things that I enjoyed about the arc, number 1, I think this arc introduces Sanji very well. And I think that Sanji, I liked him from the beginning. I actually also liked Gin. I thought he was a pretty alright character, and I kind of liked him. One of the first side characters that I'll bring up that I actually enjoyed from an arc, and there's a couple of those. I will bring them up as we get there. I enjoyed Gin, and I thought he was unironically maybe like my 3rd favorite new character in the arc behind Sanji. I don't really know how to. Okay. Anyways, yes. The moment we all know. Okay, listen. That moment, this was so peak, man. Zoro versus Mihawk. That was so peak, and the best moment I have ever seen from the series at that point. That was the GOAT. That moment was great. I loved it. I cannot say enough good things about that moment. Great. It was incredible. Peak. We love to see it. One Piece actually made me cry, and I was crying when I was reading Zoro's backstory. There's a couple panels. I'm gonna have Noah put them on screen. There's a couple panels where he's fighting, and he kind of thinks of his childhood friend. Which, by the way, I really like Zoro's backstory. That is something I forgot to say about Romance Dawn, but I thought I found Zora's backstory to be very compelling, and I enjoyed it. And I'm not sure if people like it. I was very sympathetic toward both Zoro when he was a kid, and also Kuina. Like it was believable, and I was able to understand it. And it was a pretty good backstory. I think honestly, that backstory does a lot better than some more complicated backstories from other series. I really liked how why Zoro was fighting, and I thought the going back and referencing his backstory was genius in my opinion, and it was done very well. And yeah, I mean that entire fight. So one thing, and this is going to be something interesting that I feel like maybe someone might have said this before, but this is something that I feel like is relatively new that just came from my brain. I think the manga. So I watched both the anime and the manga of the Zoro versus Mihawk fight, and I think the manga does a very good job of leaving room for imagination so that you can kind of insert what you want into the story and the kind of emotion that you want to have into it. So basically in my head, this entire stretch of the fight was incredibly dramatic and like super I guess like tear jerking kind of thing. So, and I don't think I think the anime, while I don't think they adapted it poorly or anything, I just think that the manga leaves some nice creative room for you to insert your emotions into a series. And maybe that's just how manga works in general, but I think Oda did a good job, and I honestly prefer the fight and that whole sequence in the manga. So I don't know, I liked it, and that is among my favorite moments so far in the story. And also, of course, the I will never lose a fight again. That was so peak, and I loved it. And also, I just thought Mihawk was being kind of a badass, and I really liked how he kind of had that, very respectful and chivalrous warrior kind of vibe. Maybe chivalrous is the wrong word, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, he wasn't kicking him when he was down. Like, he was, and he was being honorable, like an honorable swordsman, and I liked that about him. He was saying like, I will remember your name, and like, stuff like that, and like, I'll stab you in the front, like I won't stab you in the back, kind of thing. That like that whole thing they were going to, and like, what is your name? I thought that was cool. And surpass me, like, get up to my level and surpass me. You'll become a great fighter one day. Like, I thought that stuff was really inspiring and cool. And I like that. And that's why I like Mihawk. I think, Mihawk's not an asshole. He's like I don't know. I have a feeling that this is a conjecture. This is complete conjecture. I don't know anything about this, but I have a feeling that Shanks and Mihawk were really cool friends or cool guys back in the day. And they had some sick fights, and they were badass, and they were also wholesome, and they would go, and after the fight, they would have drinks together and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is, but that's like kind of the vibe I get with both of them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe I might be totally wrong. You guys are laughing at me, and they were like edgy fucking rivals or whatever, and they hated each other, whatever. I don't know, but because I haven't gotten there. But yeah, I was a fan, and so I'm gonna be honest. I completely forgot what moment. When does so you finally came out, Luffy, or like you finally became a pirate? When did, like, with Shanks? That panel?
Yeah.
What arc is that?
That happens at the end of Roguetown, I think.
Okay, I really like that as well. I'll get back to that. But yeah, so that moment was incredible. Just the entire sequence, I can't praise it enough. Peak, we love it. All right, now, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get into some of my criticisms of Baratie. I don't really like Don Krieg that much, and I think his subordinate Pearl is like had one of the worst fights. Maybe not one of the worst fights, but the fight wasn't that great. And maybe it's not that bad, but it's just we had such a peak fight that came before it, so this one looks kind of bad in comparison. Maybe it's not actually that bad. And if I like spend more time with the series and think about it more, maybe I'll change my opinion later on. But I wasn't a huge fan of the Pearl fight personally. I don't know what the general opinion of that was, but I didn't like it personally. So yeah. But other than that, I think the arc is overall good, and I have talked to some people saying that, like, the Mihawk versus Zoro moment kind of carries that arc, but it's overall a pretty solid arc. I think it was good, and I would say this is the first good arc of One Piece. So
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
All right. After Baratie is Arlong Park.
Arlong Park. Oh, the GOAT. Arlong Park. All right. So the first thing, I think that Arlong Park and the first chapter of Arlong Park, it's going to be on the screen right now. The page that you are seeing right now, I think this did a very good job of making you like and respect Arlong. And I think his introduction is actually pretty good. And maybe this is like an underrated thing about him, but I actually think Arlong is a good villain. And I think he is the best villain of East Blue. And I have actually heard different opinions. Like I said, people think that Morgan is better, or not Morgan, my apologies, Buggy. They think Buggy is better, or like some other characters. I guess Mihawk. I don't know if people could. I'm not really sure if Mihawk is considered a villain, but I don't know.
He's an antagonist, I think.
Yeah, he kind of seems like a different category. but he's I don't know, but more of like an Itachi type character where he's not really a villain in the whole context or whatever. I liked Arlong, and Arlong is my second favorite villain in the series so far, and I think this guy deserves some credit. I think Arlong is actually pretty solid. I really like how pragmatic he is. I like how he's just chasing the money, bro. He's chasing the money, he just that's respectable. He doesn't mess around when it comes to money. I think that's kind of cool. And I don't want to say a man of his word when it comes to money because he does kind of screw over Nami, I guess. Yeah, but like you know what I'm talking about, and I think he's just a little bit more interesting than the other villains that have came before. I think he has more depth, and I honestly think that he has some subtle like complexities about him that people don't talk about.
And he gets more interesting as the series goes on in future arcs. So
yes, and I am aware of this. But yeah, I think Arlong had a pretty good showing, and I think overall I would say he's a good character. I don't think he is a bad character. And yeah, I like him. So yeah, there's that. So an arc where I like the villain, I'm obviously probably going to like most of it. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think the arc is good, and I don't think there's these are not criticisms of the arc, but I guess I just didn't really like the parts with the village that much, and I guess I didn't care for some of the other characters. But this is not like an objective opinion, and this is not saying I think that stuff is bad. I just thought there's another arc that's going to come later that I just liked the characters and the setting more. I guess I just didn't enjoy the setting as much, but honestly, that's once again it's not even a real criticism. It's just like a feeling thing, So like that's not really like a real negative. Don't worry about it. As far as actual criticisms, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have any. I think the arc is overall good. And I think it is definitely the best arc that I've seen, that I've read, or that I did read up until that point. I think Arlong Park is, spoiler alert, the best arc of East Blue.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment with Nami is great. When the boys post up, bro, they come in and they march. That's kind of sick, bro. Oh my god! And I think the anime does a pretty good job of that too. It's a cool moment. I think overall, very good arc. Yeah, definitely good arc. Best arc of East Blue, definitely. It's a very complete arc. I think the villain is introduced well. The fight is good. Oh man, yeah, Arlong versus Luffy. It's a good fight. It's pretty good. I liked it, and there's a lot of good moments. I think Arlong Park is overall it gets a thumbs up in my book. And yeah, I think this is definitely a very, very good complete arc. Pretty well done. And I think this is, good arc. Thumbs up. Looking good. Okay, so next arc.
Yeah, after that is Roguetown and the end of East Blue.
Roguetown. Now, okay, so you guys actually might get caught off guard about what I have to say about Roguetown. I actually think Roguetown is underrated. I think this arc is actually a lot better than some people give it, than people. Okay, I think this arc is a lot better than people give this arc credit for. Now, I understand that this is not a very long arc, and I guess it's hard to say that there's like a story going on. It's just a lot of really good moments back to back. But like as a smaller arc, I actually think this is like the best small arc I've seen. Unless I'm forgetting something. I think this is the best small arc I've seen. I think the only arcs that I like more are the arcs that actually have some length to it. So this is my fourth favorite arc in the series, behind Baratie, Arlong Park, and the secret number one that I will reveal later. But you guys probably know what it is already. Anyways, Roguetown. I really enjoyed the Zoro looking for his sword. Just a lot of the more downtime we got, because like a lot of like obviously Arlong Park, like it was. Everything was important. Like this was all stuff that was like, you need to pay attention to this. This is important to the plot, like the backstory and stuff like that. But with Roguetown, you get to time to some shit. You get to chill a little bit, you get some nice walking, some nice shopping. in the beginning, which I liked, and I enjoyed the cursed sword. I apologize, I forgot the name of the two swords that he buys, but what are those?
It's Sandai Kitetsu and Yubashiri.
So yeah, I think pretty solid. And of course, you got Luffy's execution. We all know that moment. That's a very from what I gather and what what I'm familiar with the series, it's a pretty iconic moment. Like the lightning striking and
Oh yeah, that's very iconic.
yeah, and Luffy not getting killed, like that was good. So yeah, and I also liked Smoker, by the way, and I still do in later arcs. I actually enjoy Smoker. I think he's a cool character. So I don't want to call him a side character, but like I guess how I mentioned I liked Geen. This would be like the not main antagonist character that I like that got introduced in Roguetown. So yeah, that would be the other character that I enjoyed. And obviously, of course, I guess I forgot to mention this. Yes, I like Shanks and Mihawk. Come on, how do you read those two arcs and be like, man, I really don't like Mihawk. I really don't like Shanks. You can't do that, man. They're cool. Like they're just great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Roguetown is underrated. However, I disagree with it being the best arc of East Blue. But I do, I think it's good, and I would say it is definitely. I do agree that the last three arcs of East Blue are the better ones.
Yeah.
So that is all I have to say about East Blue. Oh, okay. I guess overall, I think East Blue is pretty solid overall, and I think the high points are pretty good. I do think it takes a little bit to get going, and I think I don't think the beginning is like the best thing I've ever read in my life, but it's definitely not horrible, and I didn't feel it wasn't really a huge struggle to get through it. I guess like I was fine. Keep in mind, I did read all of the first three arcs in one day. Well, no, not all of them in one day, but like one day I read all of Romance Dawn. The other day I read all of Orange Town. The other day I read all of Syrup Village. So that might have maybe made me like not dig into them as much as some other people would maybe. But yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Overall, I think East Blue is good. I don't think it's a bad saga or anything. I think it definitely has its good moments, and I think the good arcs are quite good. So yeah, I was a fan of East Blue, and I really enjoyed I enjoyed 4 of its arcs, I would say.
All right.
Okay, next saga.
Yeah, after that is the Baroque Works saga, and the first arc is Reverse Mountain.
Okay, so I am very sorry to say, and I have some bad news, people. Reverse Mountain is my least favorite arc in the series so far. Now, I understand, and I am already aware that there are a couple of moments in the arc that kind of are more contextualized. Okay, it kind of like starts plot threads or some hint later on, something like that. Like, and basically, if I get to a certain point in the series, I will look back onto Reverse Mountain a little bit more fondly.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I've heard, but as of right now, I don't like it. So yeah, I don't know. It just felt very different, and I don't know. I was kind of sad when I read Laboon's story. I was like, damn, that's kind of sad. And it just felt very okay. Nah, it just felt really weird, and it felt very different from the arcs I read before. But I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's important to the story because like they have to get over the mountain to get into the Grand Line. And I'm aware that there's some character. I think that I can't remember his name, but the guy that is inside of the whale.
Crocus?
Yes, him. He was friends with Roger, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's really not much to say. It's just like there's not much going on. It's kind of sad, and like I don't know. It was 5 chapters, so it's like whatever. But like, it's if I had to pick an arc, I would put at the bottom. It would be this one. So yeah. I guess the one thing I can say that this arc did is that it introduced a character that I really like. That is at this point in the story known as Miss Wednesday.
Yeah.
So there you go. I guess that is one thing I liked about the arc. So yeah, not much to say. It's a short arc. It's just not my favorite, and I think it is a lower point compared to like Arlong Park and Baratie, But yeah. So next arc.
Yeah. After that is Whiskey Peak.
So Whiskey Peak. As a Zoro enjoyer, this arc definitely gave me a little bit to work with. You know what I mean? Gave me some stuff to enjoy, and I did enjoy, bro. Like, this is literally Guts in the Golden Age all over again. Guts kills 100 men. Zoro kills 1,000 men, or whatever. He kills 100 men. You love to see it. That's cool. Like, Zoro was pretty cool in that arc. I liked him in that arc, and yeah, I also enjoyed Vivi's technically her introduction as a princess. I liked that. And yes, Vivi is in fact a character that I am a fan of, and as of right now is my favorite female character in One Piece. Oh, I'm so
really?
sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Robin fans. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised you like her more than Nami.
Yeah, I do. I'm very sorry, Robin fans. I promise.
I mean, you've just met Robin, so.
No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think some Robin fans are typing my IP address into the computer as we speak. But yeah, so I do in fact like Vivi, and I am a fan. So yeah, and this arc kind of made me start to like her. So yeah, there you go. I mean, okay, so. This is where I'm gonna start having issues with Baroque Works, and this is where this is gonna kind of like start I guess a negative or something that I didn't enjoy about the Baroque Works saga is that some of the minor villains are pretty boring. And in particular, this one had a couple that started here. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I don't even remember the names. Like, who's the guy that turns himself into a bomb and he's like red and he wears red clothing?
That's Mr. Five.
Yeah, Mr. Five he was there, right?
Yeah, he was in. Are you talking about Little Garden now?
No, Whiskey Peak. He in Whiskey Peak?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in Whiskey Peak.
Yeah, but just those characters, I'm gonna be honest. They're so forgettable. Like, I completely forgot about like a couple of them. Like, if I was to take a test about, who is every character. Who is every Baroque Works agent and what is their name? Like, I would fail that test, you know what I mean? Because there's just a couple that I forgot about. And I think this arc and Little Guard in particular have a lot of those. So yeah, I guess that's like, isn't there some girl that's like really light or something that was in this arc? Like,
that's Miss Valentine.
Yeah, she can like alter her weight, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Whiskey Peak, it's fine. I know. I think Noah actually places this arc lower than I have it. I guess, and like but like it's not my least favorite arc. I definitely like it a little bit more than. I do like it more than Reverse Mountain, and I also like it more than the next arc. Speaking of which, the next arc is
Little Garden.
So Little Garden. This is unfortunately my second least favorite arc in the series. Maybe I like it more than Orange Town. I might put it above there, but I don't know. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the biggest fan of Little Garden. The main problem I have with it, I just didn't really like the villains that much. I just thought they were. I don't like Mr. 3. I thought he was very boring and. It just kind of felt a little long, and it's just like the fight wasn't that interesting. The one thing I can give credit for this arc is that I enjoyed the phone call where Sanji was pretending to be Mr. 3.
Yeah, that was definitely a cool moment.
Yeah, and he was talking to Mr. Zero. I enjoyed that. And that does lead into a really interesting character. So, yeah, I liked that. but I would be lying if I said that I enjoyed the entire arc. There's just a lot of, once again, it's just my biggest issue with the Baroque Works saga as a whole is that there's just a lot of minor villains that I just thought were kind of whatever, you know. And it's like, you know, there's other villains I could like more, you know, and I would rather that, you know, they kind of have to be there, I guess. It's fine,
Yeah.
but like, I just wish they were a little bit more interesting. But yeah, I'm sure maybe one or two of them shows up later and is like the coolest character ever. But as of right now, I didn't really like them. That's the thing about One Piece. I'm sure I might change my opinion on a ton of these characters because like they come back later. I've heard that Mr. 3 in particular comes back and he's like kind of cool or like a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this arc is anyone's favorite, but from that's what Noah told me. Like, you know, we've been talking about One Piece a lot in the past couple months since I started the series, and you know, to my from what I understand, I don't think anyone's favorite arc is Little Garden, but like, it's definitely not my favorite. That is true for me as well, but it is towards the bottom of my list. So yeah, not my favorite, but okay.
After that is Drum Island.
So Drum Island, I will say, very bit, definitely an upswing, definitely an improvement over the last 3 arcs, I would say. And I know some people that really hate this arc. I know somebody that I talked to. This is their like either their least favorite or their second least favorite arc in the entire series. So yeah, I've heard some hate for this arc, and I'm like, okay. I thought it was a good arc. I think it's pretty good. I would say it is better than the last 3, but not as good as like the really good arcs of East Blue. So that's kind of where I put it. You can already kind of see, you can already kind of imagine where I would place it. One character that I actually liked that's a side character is Dalton. Dalton is super wholesome, and I like him. He's great. He's a great guy. We love him. So yeah, I liked him. It's a very tearjerker arc. You know, Chopper's backstory is pretty sad. You know, I think Chopper was a good addition. I think I understand. So what I understand about Chopper, Chopper is like the Pikachu of One Piece.
Yeah. They have the same voice actor in the anime as well.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Yeah. That's kind of funny. But yeah, good addition, and I think the arc is overall pretty solid. I don't think it's a bad arc at all, and I think it's definitely an improvement over the last 3, like I said. And I think it's above the first 3 arcs of East Blue as well. So yeah, pretty solid. I actually kind of enjoyed the fight at the end, and the moment where Luffy is holding the flag, and he just looks really sick there. And that was a really good Luffy moment. And yeah, I was a fan of that moment in particular. And I don't know, like, if that's like a talked about moment, like, you know.
Yeah, it's fairly iconic, at least within the saga.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, okay. The final arc that I've read.
Alabasta.
Okay, boys. This is my favorite arc in the series so far. Oh my god, Alabasta was so peak. I love it. Favorite arc. This is great. I love it. So, I have a lot to say about this arc, and it's a lot of positivity. Number one, I think the beginning is the best beginning in any arc I've seen so far, and I think it is really good. I cared about all the characters. The characters that were there, I felt were important to me. I felt were interesting, and they were compelling. And I was like, man, these characters are cool. I want to see them talk to each other. So those characters being Smoker, Ace, Crocodile, and of course the Straw Hats. I really enjoyed the beginning. There's so much good stuff to say. So let me start off with Smoker. We haven't seen Smoker in a while. It's been quite a bit. So I'm glad that he came back, and I was glad that he was there. And so yeah, I like, you know, he's got a cool power. Like his, like, you know, he like turns into clouds. Is that what he is?
Yeah, smoke.
He turns into smoke. Like he's yeah. So yeah, I'm glad that he was there. And Ace, oh my god! So I have a good feeling that Ace is going to be one of my favorite characters in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is cool. I like Ace. Good introduction, good start. So what I like about Portcullis Diaz is that number one, his power is sick. I mean, fire's cool. Like fire's cool.
Yeah.
He's a badass. He's very prideful about his occupation, which I like, and I thought that was kind of cool. And one thing I really liked about him is that he's got this. I guess he's got he's got the social riz. That's one thing I like about him. He's got charisma, and you can respect the guy. You look at him like, man, this is a cool guy, you know. And everyone kind of thought that on the ship. All the girls were like, oh man, this is actually Luffy's brother. He's actually a cool guy, and he's not like a crackhead or an ADHD guy. Like he's like actually a normal person, you know.
Yeah,
and he's cool, you know. And you know the guys were like, "Oh man, this guy's kind of a cool guy," you know. That's and like whatever Zoro and Sanji were thinking, like that's what I was thinking. I was like, "Man, like this is a cool dude," you know. So yeah, that's what I liked about him. He's also a badass. I mean, bro, he lit an entire fleet of ships on fire. That's sick. Like, come on, that is cool. And also Crocodile's introduction, bro, it was so sick. He jumps off of a building and kills everybody. That you already started off good. That was a good start. And I love how one thing I really liked about Crocodile and about the beginning and how he's introduced is that he's kind of viewed as the hero of Alabasta, which I thought was really cool. And I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed that detail. So yeah, I was a fan. We love to see it. But yeah, like the beginning is great. Like it's, you know, I love how they're like running away from the Marines and, you know, like, you know, Ace is kind of helping them out. You know, there's like a conversation between the two of them because, you know, like, you know, they kind of have interesting conversations about, you know, oh yeah, you're a part of the Whitebeard Pirates. And, you know, this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Interesting characters talking about interesting things in like that I care about. That's what I liked about the beginning of Alabasta. We like it. It was good. So yeah, I was a fan. Now, okay. So the only, there are, I'm going to get the negatives out of the way before I keep, you know, just praising this arc, because I'm going to tell you right now, there's only a little bit of, I guess, small things I didn't like, and then it's just a bunch of praise. So get ready for a ton of more praise of Alabasta. So I guess one thing, okay, I hit a snag for 2 chapters. That's nothing. And the 2 chapters I'm talking about are the chapters where Luffy goes to that village that is covered in sand. And that's the thing. That's important to the story. So like, whatever. I you know, it's just that I started off with such a banger, and then it became a little bit slower, and then but then it picked up really quickly, and like, it that's not even bad. It wasn't a bad part of the arc. It was important. So yeah. All right, and then, you know, once they get to the casino, you know, that was great. You know, listen, Crocodile's sick, and he is my favorite villain in the series. Crocodile is the GOAT, bro. He's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna explain why I like him later on, a little bit later. But I enjoy. I don't know how other people feel about the casino prison scene. The lair, like with all the banana dials.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how people feel about that, but I did not have a problem with it personally, and I thought it was fine. So I don't know what the general opinion about that part of this the arc is. I don't know if people don't like it or not.
Yeah, most people think it's fine.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. So I don't know if people don't like it, and if that's like one of the criticisms that people give Alabasta, it is not an issue with me. So yeah, enjoyed that part. That part was all good. Oh, Sanji was such a badass, bro.
Yeah, Mr. Prince.
He was so cool. Like when he kicks, bro, he literally squared up with an entire crocodile that's like, you know, 30 times his size. That's sick. Like, bro, have you ever seen a guy in real life kick a crocodile?
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh my god. Yeah, so that was sick. And then, all right. Okay, so then we get to the first fight with Luffy. Crocodile versus Luffy. This was great. So spoiler alert, I like all 3 of the fights between Crocodile and Luffy. I was a fan of all of them. Except when it was done in the 4Kids dub, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I showed him that
makes
clip.
You
it was,
desert doo-doo.
It's traumatizing.
Yeah. Oh no. So they're done. They didn't make anything else after Alabasta.
Well, they adapted like the filler arcs that came after Alabasta, but they don't really count.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure they went bankrupt like a couple years later, so, karma.
Yeah. But oh my god, that was oh no. But yes, in the actual source material in the manga, it was amazing, and I liked it. Oh my god. But yeah, I think I have PTSD, man. That was that was so bad. 4 kids, why did you do this, man? Why did they let you do things? Oh man. So yeah, I really enjoyed the fight. I think the first fight of Crocodile really shows off his power set really well.
Hmm.
And like I like the sand blades. Like where he like kind of like shoots an attack and then like Luffy dodges it
Yeah.
and it like cuts through the sand. I thought that was kind of cool. And like creates like a like a big chasm thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed that part of the fight. And one thing that I really like about this is that this is the first time Luffy lost, and I thought that was really
Yeah.
good. A
Yeah.
villain beat Luffy, and it's like, oh man, you can't just beat everything.
Yeah, it's a moment, it's a moment, a slap in the face that, like, Luffy's not a big fish in a small pond anymore. The Grand Line's on another level.
Yeah, and they got some pretty. They got some big boys. They got some top tiers.
Yeah.
Or some very strong characters, and the pirates are not exactly like Luffy is not like the Jesus Christ of One Piece.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was good, and I enjoyed that. After that, I liked the whole plot with Pluton, like how Crocodile wanted something specific out of Alabasta.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess this is where I'll talk about Crocodile's character. I really like him, and I enjoyed how smart he is, like how intelligent he is, how he planned everything out. He's like a mob boss, but cool. Like,
Yeah. That is he's got that kind of boss thing going on. I really like it.
yeah, and I think his design looks good. He's got a cigar. He's got like the big
Yeah.
jacket. What did he kill to get that, man? Did
I
he
mean,
kill it?
I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Crocodile's like top 3 drippiest characters in One Piece.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. That is another one of those Mihawk.
Uh, okay, maybe not top 3, but top 5.
Damn.
I forgot about Mihawk, but
Yeah, and Shanks, but
yeah. Regardless, he looks really good.
yeah, he looks good. He's a cool character, but and yes, I like his design as well. I'm a fan. But yeah, so I think Crocodile is the most interesting villain that we've gotten so far in terms of or that I've read so far from East Blue to Alabasta saga or Baroque Works saga. And yeah, I really like Crocodile. I'm a fan. So what else? Okay, I really like the second fight when Pell is it not Pell that flies in Luffy?
It's
Or is it,
Pell, yeah.
yeah, I liked it when Pell flew Luffy in, and it was kind of cool. And Luffy started figuring out his weakness. It's like, okay, he's made of sand, and water affects him. And if I'm not incorrect, didn't Luffy figure that out in the last fight, or was that something that was fed to him?
Well, he figured it out when some of the water spilled onto Crocodile's hand while he was being impaled, and he like grabbed it. So he kind
Exactly.
of he worked that one out on his own.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool, and that's a good thing. I like that, because like
I mean, Luffy's pretty clever when he needs to be.
he is, yeah. I will get to Luffy after I finish the Alabasta arc, but yeah. So Crocodile's fucking great, really cool villain, and I'm a fan. I think man, he's just like good. He looks cool. He's a good character, and yeah, I think he's interesting villain. So yeah, I love that second fight. It's kind of cool. There's like the part when there's a lot of battle damage to both Crocodile. Like that's kind of cool. I really like it when I guess I don't know if this is a shonen trope, but I like it when characters start showing signs of battle damage in a fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this arc did that very well. Um, so yeah. And like when he puts his hand into the ground and sucks like out of all the water out of it, and also that scene where he's holding Luffy over the edge, and like he drains the water out of him, and he like throws him off. Like he does like I'm sure there's a Star Wars scene that happened there. I think, right? Yeah, Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, there you go. So there's like stuff like that. It's kind of cool. I was a fan, and it just looked cool. And yeah. Okay. So another small thing. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really like specifically the. I think one of the lower points of Alabasta to me was the fight with Usopp, Chopper, and the two Baroque Works agents that I already forgot the name of. Oh, by the way, I fucking hate that mole woman. I can't, bro. There's no way. How do you read that? That's literally illegible. Like, how do you read?
Yeah, the gag works better in the anime, I guess.
Okay, whatever. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like I'm gonna be honest. I kind of gave up reading her lines. It was just like, it was such an assault to my eyes, bro. It was like, come on. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's funny. Apparently, the joke is that she talks really, really fast or something like that. Like
and Mr. Four talks really, really slow.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't get that at all. Okay. I didn't even know that you talk. Wait, who is Mr. Four? Is that the...
He's the big guy with the bat.
He talks slow? Huh?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess that just went over my head. I just learned that just now.
Again,
okay.
It works better in the anime because you can actually hear them talking.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I didn't really care. Once again, that's just another Baroque agent characters that I don't really care about too much. Thing. It's whatever. But honestly, I don't really think it held. I don't really think it holds this arc back that much. And honestly, I don't think they were that bad in this arc. And the fight wasn't too long. It was like a couple chapters. And the fight wasn't even that bad. It's just I didn't like it as much as the other fights,
Yeah.
Okay, the one with Nami and the girl that turns into spikes. That fight was fine. I actually I could imagine that people don't like that fight, but it didn't bother me. So yeah, we're good. And the Zoro fight, that was a good one. That was a good moment too. There's some pretty badass panels you'll see on screen. We're looking good. The fights are getting better, and then we get to one of my top 2 favorite fights in the series. This might be my favorite fight personally, not objectively the best fight so far, but this is my personal favorite fight in the series. The round 3 of Crocodile versus Luffy. I really enjoyed this fight. Both characters were so great in this fight. Their characters were amazing, and they were really badass in this fight. And I really liked how Luffy found out that blood does in fact have some water in it, and he used that to fight Crocodile. That was really badass. And I was a big fan of how Luffy was dripping with blood all over his body when he was fighting. And I was a fan of that. Like I said, I'm a fan of characters taking battle damage, and that was a really cool way of using it. So yeah, we love to see it. And also the choreography was just really good in the manga. Guys, Demon Slayer fans, this is what a real battle shonen manga looks like. Okay? This right here is how you draw a fight. Take notes, guys. Oda's the GOAT. But yeah, big fan of the choreography. It's just like bro. Okay, so let me tell you guys a story. As I was reading this, I was like basically copying and pasting the panels into a Discord server that we're in, and I was just posting every panel because every panel was just so sick. Like, it was just peak after peak. Like, every page was just amazing. Like, I'm telling you, if you're an anime only, or like if you haven't read the manga that extensively, or if you have read the manga but it's been a long time, go back and read that fight and like look at the panels. The panels are great. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's like a common opinion or if people like bring that up specifically about Alabasta, but yeah, guys, like, this is good. This is some good stuff right here. This is a good shonen fight. We love it. We love to see it. And yeah, like, the ending was good. The abilities were well shown, and I really liked how Crocodile's hair was getting disheveled, and like he started, I just liked it. It looked good. It looked cool, and yeah. So oh man, it was such a great moment. Okay, so apparently, a controversial moment about Alabasta And I would imagine a point that people bring up to try to downplay this arc and put it lower on people's tier lists is the moment with Pell. It did not bother me personally, and it did not bother my enjoyment. I'm going to be honest, I thought Pell was still dead. Like,
Yeah.
Noah had to explain to me, yes, Pell is still alive. And I kind of thought like Pell's like cloth thing on his head, like that was just kind of like a a memento, not a memento, but like like a kind of like a reference to him, like, oh yeah, he was a great fighter kind of thing, like we all love Pell.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to explain this. I was too busy sucking off Crocodile. But yes, Pell is in fact a side character that I do like. He's another one of those. So yeah, we like Pell. And honestly, if he stays dead, he isn't dead, but like if he stayed dead, I would have been okay with it. And yeah, he was pretty badass. I'm gonna be honest. His first showing, he kind of got clapped in the beginning, like I mean, like Robin kind of clapped his cheeks, bro. Like that was a little yikes. A little bit, not because he lost to her, but like it's like, damn, like that's your first showing, like. But like, you know what? I still liked him, and remember, this is how shonen fans think. Like, if you lose a fight, you're not.
Yeah.
If you lose a fight, you're not cool. But like, I was like, man, whatever. But yeah, I liked him throughout this arc, and I was a fan. I also just like his design. I think his design is kind of cool. And bro, he's literally Tabarn from Fire Emblem. He like transforms into a hawk. That's sick. That's cool. So I was I just enjoyed that, and I think a person transforming into a hawk is like kind of a cool power. It's been done in another series that I like, and I don't have an issue with it in One Piece. So there you go. Yeah. Also, Vivi was a fantastic character in this arc. I really loved her all throughout the Baroque Works saga. I think Vivi is one of the, unironically, one of the highlights of the Baroque Works saga.
Nice.
And one of the things that I enjoyed about it. And without her, I think I would have enjoyed the Baroque Works saga less. So yeah, I'm glad that she was there, and I liked that character. Favorite female character in the series so far. So yeah, Alabasta, peak. Love to see it. We love to see it, boys. We read a good arc. We did it, boys. We got past the milestone. You love to see it. I'm 200 chapters into One Piece. That's what is that, a fifth of the series?
Yeah, just about.
Just about a fifth of the series. We love to see it, boys. We did it. I feel accomplished. Oh man, imagine when I read the entire series. I'm gonna feel great. I already feel great. And oh man, it was so yeah. Overall, I guess I guess with the Baroque Works saga as a whole, I'm gonna be honest, I guess the last arc was great. Loved it. And everything kind of built up to make that arc great. So I guess that's one way I can kind of advocate for the arcs earlier. Now, okay, let me talk about some things that I like so far about the entire series. Number one, Luffy's character. Luffy is a breath of fresh air, and I was pleasantly surprised with him. In my opinion, Luffy is the pinnacle of shonen protagonists and what Naruto and Goku should have been. I think, okay, maybe not entirely correct, but he basically he is what I wanted Naruto and Luffy to be, and Goku to be. He is everything. Like honestly, bro, if they put Luffy and Naruto, I think I would have liked this series even more. Or if they put Luffy in Dragon Ball, because Luffy's great, bro. He's a great character. What I love about him is that, like Noah said before earlier in the video, he's got very good emotional intelligence. He's always wholesome. He does something really strange. Like, man, why did he do this? Why did he stab a whale? Why would he do that? And then you realize, wait a minute, it's wholesome. You love to see it. And that's what I like about him. Luffy is the type of person you want to work for. You want to work for this guy. This is the guy you want to be your captain. Maybe you don't. Like, maybe there are some times where it's like, oh man, the captain's about to go, he just snorted some cocaine. He's about to go, punch this really powerful pirate in the face. I don't know. But like, you want to work for him. This is a good protagonist. And I think that Luffy is unironically a actually really good protagonist. And I like him. Yeah, so I like his moments. I think he is very badass when he needs to be. like I am the one that will surpass you, stuff like that. Like, oh my god, like, just some great moments throughout the entire series. And he's just such a good guy. He's a
Yeah.
great guy. And he's got the big dick energy, bro. He's cool, and this is the guy you want to work for, and he's great. Like, I don't know, maybe he inherited some kind of like charisma from his father or his brother, but yeah, like, he's a great guy. So I love Luffy. We love him. We love him, boys. We like
love our rubber boy.
we love our rubber boy. Yeah, he's great. I'm a fan. And
So what do you think about like making this a regular thing where we kind of check up every saga or two to see what you think?
yes, I am down to do that. If you want, we can make a video as soon as I finish the Sky Island saga.
No, we'll see about that.
Yeah, but I will definitely consider, and I am down to make more videos about this. But anyways, some other things I wanted to talk about. I really like Zoro. Zoro's back. I already mentioned Zoro's backstory. Great. I like why he fights, and yeah, I really hope that he has some great moments in the future. I'm looking forward to what he has to offer. Sanji, I really hope he doesn't disappoint me, and yeah. Looking forward. So if you guys want to know what my 3 favorite Straw Hats are, it's those 3. And then the other 3 are just somewhere unordered after that. I guess Nami is probably like, I don't know, maybe Nami is number 4, but yeah, those are my favorite Straw Hats. Can I count Vivi as the number 4?
I mean, she is kind of like an honorary Straw Hat, so I'll give it to you.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my god, but yeah, one thing that I think One Piece. All right, so overall, One Piece, the characters are good. The characters are very likable, and even if you get into kind of a not so great section, objective or whatever of the story, the characters kind of help you get through it. And I think One Piece's characters are good. I think the cast of characters is pretty strong so far, especially when it comes to the main ones, like the Straw Hats and some of the villains. Yeah, so pretty strong cast of characters so far. I'm a fan. I really want to see where characters like Ace go from here. And yeah, Luffy looking good. And from what I've heard, he stays pretty consistent. So I have high hopes and high expectations for Luffy as a character. Already a fan. We love to see it. I'm looking forward to Enies Lobby and Marineford. Those are the 2 arcs that I am looking forward to in particular, because from what I've heard, those are the 2 arcs that are considered by many and most consistently considered the 2 best arcs in the series. So I am looking forward to it. We moving, boys. We moving. It's looking good. We love to see it. We love to see it. One Piece, it's looking good, boys. I'm liking it. I am liking it, and I don't feel like I wasted my time. I felt like I read something that I enjoyed, and this is peak, man. Like this is great. What else? Hold on. Oh, so another thing. I think that One Piece's low points don't really hurt the series that much, and I think that none of the low points that I have read in particular. Maybe this will change when I read some other arc in the future. But I don't think that there is any point of One Piece that I have read that is horribly written and that actively is a negative like part of the series that drags it down. I don't think that has happened yet. And I think, like, yes, there are arcs that are worse. Of course, like even some of the best manga out there, not every arc is equal. There are some that are slightly worse than others, but like I don't really think that the bad points of One Piece are that bad. I think One Piece is just like overall a good series, like even at this point. Like, yeah, I'm a fan.
All right.
So yeah, that's one thing I have to say. Main point is I don't really think the low points drag it down. I'm not really sure if people disagree with that, but yeah, I think it's fine, and even the low points aren't that bad, and you can. And that's the thing. The low points are important to the story. Like I get like for example, Whiskey Peak. Whiskey Peak is often I believe it is an arc that is like not considered very good, or not okay, like on the lower end. It's on the lower end of arcs.
Yeah.
But that arc is still important because it introduces like the Baroque Works agency, and the Vivi's name, like the fact that she's a princess, and crocodile and everything, like that whole thing, like.
Yeah.
So, like, even the low points introduce stuff, and as I've heard, Oda is pretty good at covering his tracks. So maybe parts I had an issue with or that I didn't like as much will actually kind of be more like I'll look more more fondly after I get to that point. You never know.
Yeah. All right.
So overall, thumbs up. Enjoying it. I am enjoying One Piece. I like it. I'm very excited. I really want to get to the very top tier arcs of One Piece, such as Enies Lobby, and Marineford. I really want to get to those arcs, and some others, but yeah, looking forward to it. I have heard good things about Jaya in particular. A lot of people like it, and it looks like I'm gonna enjoy Jaya. So yeah, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I like it.
Well, we'll probably be checking back in with us later. So I think we'll wrap this up for now.
Yes.
Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to leave a like. If you have anything you want to add, leave a comment. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. This has been the Anime Connoisseurs. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.